welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose, and if you're new, thank you for stopping by today. I hope that you will find this content useful to you, and I hope that you will stick around until the end of the content. So in today's video, I'll be doing two things. One, I'll be doing the final touches on my May 15th paycheck budget just to close it out so that I can move into my May 31st budgeting. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you and you want to journey along with me, please feel free to continue with me. Okay, so let's get into my May 15th budget for my final touches. So when I did my check-in, or when I'm doing my check-in, I normally take all my actuals directly from my bank account. And the reason why I do that is because it's one, it's accurate, and two, it's easier for me when I'm closing out my budget because those are my actual spending. So for my May 15th paycheck budget, I have $12.44 that was not spent. All right, so that $12.44, I am just going to put it into my safety net or my expense cushion just so I can have my budget at a zero balance so I can comfortably move over into the next budgeting period. And that's just a personal preference for me. I just want to see that everything was my, everything is at a zero before I move over. I do have that money in my expense cushion account. So let me just run through closing out the budget again. So everything that I budgeted for was paid. The gas connection fee, utility, the electricity connection fee was paid, cell phone was paid, fuel for the vehicles were purchased, toiletries and groceries. That's the line item that I normally overspent on. I'm working on that. I overspent that by $103.83. Car insurance was paid. I over budgeted, so I have the difference of $83.30. So for my housing and general expense category, I overspent by $7.14 after the offset from my car insurance line item. Okay, so moving along to my debt section because that was the next section that I did some activity. All the payments were made. Car payment one, car payment two, credit cards, personal loan one, and personal loan number two. There was no extra debt payment here. A portion of the credit card was paid in the prior budgeting period. So that is why I have this 492 here, because now if I go over to my expense tracker, not my expense tracker, my consumer debt tracker, which I also like to close out before I move on, you will see that my total credit cards was $668.30. But these two I paid in the period before, along with my Ashley Furniture Store bill was paid in the period before. So that will explain why there's a difference here as opposed to the May tracker right here. All right, and my subscription was paid as well. So that's it for rounding up my May 15th budget so that I can move into my May 31st budgeting. All right, so let's get into budgeting my May 31st income. All right, so we are starting out my May 31st with, let me put in my combined income first, which is $3,044. I round it down because the cents were less than 50 cents. It wasn't closer to a dollar, so I round it down. The next thing that I'm going to do is my cell phone repayment, which is $150 from my girls that are on the cell phone. They pay their own cell phone bill. I think for this period I am going to, all right, so I have two income for side hustles. One, I have a gift card for $200 that I received from referring someone to ADT. So I have the $200 that ADT sent me, and $150 from my side hustle that I do, my little bookkeeping side hustle that I do. So that's a combined amount of $350. Okay, so check these off. All right, so I'm going to be working starting out with $3,544 to budget with. I know that I'll be transferring some money from my savings as well as from my emergency fund. So let me, because I need to differentiate what's coming from my personal savings as opposed to what I'm taking from my emergency fund. So let me just insert a row right here, and I'm going to say transfer, EF transfer. Okay, so I will be transferring, let me do a quick calculation here, $372.75 plus $50 from my emergency fund. So that's $422.75. So I'm transferring this $422.75 from my emergency fund to cover two bills. One is a dental bill that I am so upset about because I actually paid this bill, not necessarily the bill, I paid for the very same service last year at a different dental practice for my son. And because I changed dentists, they apparently redo what the other practice did, charge the insurance. The insurance is not paying for it. So this falls in my lap to cover that $372.75 for the dental. And the extra $50 is to cover the copay for the hospital stay. I actually paid $200. The insurance didn't pay a portion of one of the bills, so I'm left with a $50 bill as well. So that total is $422.75. Um, so I'm gonna go straight into budgeting for the line items, and then I'll be sure as to how much I need to take from my personal savings to build this up. If you have been following me, I did mention some time ago that I do not want to use any money from my emergency fund to fund anything that our paychecks should have been able to cover, with the exception of anything that's medical. And that is why I'm taking this $422.75 from that fund. From my personal savings fund, it's just my money. It has nothing to do with our combined income. It's just my money that I set aside for myself. But I do know that this paycheck is going to be short, so I'm prepared to take some money from that to cover here. All right, so let's get into budgeting. All right, so my rent is $23.73.81 for this month. I am not going to put anything here for water right now. I'm not going to put any amount for gas, for electricity or internet. Not going to put anything for a cell phone bill because that's not due. So water, gas, electricity, internet, and a portion of the cell phone bill, I gave those responsibility to my two girls. So if for any reason a month that they cannot come up with it, then I will try to step in if I'm able to step in. But I want to give them some of the responsibility as well. Okay, so for fuel, I'm going to budget $150. I'm going to budget $170 for fuel. For groceries, I'm going to budget $150. Car insurance is not due. Medical copay expenses, I'm going to put the $422.75 that I transferred from the emergency fund to cover that. I am not expecting to fill any prescription for this period. Hopefully nothing surprising comes up. Um, Life insurance, that's already paid for the quarter, so I am going to leave that as is. Okay, So for housing and general expense for this period, I am already at $3,116.56. I am skipping savings and investment. I'm skipping personal and discretionary. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next category, which is going to be my debt section. Um, but before I get into the debt section, I'm just going to skip over to the consumer debt tracker for the period. So I have my consumer debt tracker right here. And on this tracker, I do list out my credit cards based on the payment date, and I section it so that I know which set is going to be paid with each pay period, within each pay period. So for this pay period, I am paying 4 cards, totaling $181.19. So I'm going to go back over to the budget and just make this equal to that. For car payments and personal loans, those I do have on the split pay method. And with the split pay method that I've been using for quite some time now, it's really, really helpful. I get to split the monthly payment into two because we're paid semi-monthly. So that helps to ease a little of the burden for the month. So if you do have bigger bills, you can consider using the split pay method just to see if it's going to work out for you and your unique situation. But for me, it's really helpful. Okay, so for personal loan number one, it's 621, and loan number two is 383 and 16 cents. There will be no extra debt payment. So car loans are scheduled, um, personal loan, and the credit card. For subscription for this period, I think I'm gonna budget $10 for subscription. And there is one thing that I forgot to make a line, and it's a new line item, so I'm just gonna put it here in miscellaneous. Um, I'm gonna just put it right here, and then I'll move it for the next budget into housing and general expense. Um, on second thought, let me put it there. Okay, so for pest control, it's gonna be $112 per quarter. So I'm paying for June, July, and August, and then my next quarter starts in September. So this line item, I'm going to create a column on my savings and sinking fund tracker so that I can break down the payment so I don't have to come up with the full 112 when September comes. But for now, I have to pay the $112. Okay, so I have covered my debts. I've covered housing and general expenses. I'm just going to use a placeholder for these items just to make sure that I'm not missing a line item. Okay, so I am over budget by $932.29. So the amount that I'm going to be transferring from my savings is, I'm going to be exact just so that I can have the budget at zero for the, just to maintain that zero-based budgeting. All right. So remember also that I do have $12.44 that I already transferred in my expense cushion, plus the little change that was there earlier. So I'm about like $20 and some change in my expense cushion already. So hopefully this will take me through the budgeting period, which is going to be for all expenses beginning on the 31st of May through the 14th of June. And I will definitely be doing my regular budget check-in because you already know those are necessary, those are important for us to see what we need to adjust as we go throughout the budgeting period. And it's okay to adjust as you go because there are always unexpected happenings. So it's okay to be flexible and adapt to your budget according to what is happening in your life. So that's it for budgeting my May 31st paycheck. Thank you for joining me again, and remember, budgeting it's a journey. It's not our final destination. There will be bumps along the road, there will be obstacles, but just stick to it. Continue to plan, continue to adjust, and take control of our finances. Please leave me a comment. What are your suggestions? How do you go along, especially when you are a bit short for the income for a budgeting period? All right. So please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You can follow along with me and to be notified when I upload any other video. So until the next video, thank you and happy budgeting.